Welcome back to Lazy Day Crochet. I am in the process of working up another blanket for the Waffle Stitch, and I thought there may be some interest in how I go about changing the sizes. First off, I'm going to break the rules a little bit because I'm going to use this all-in-one granny square yarn to do this Waffle Stitch blanket. So this color is Black Blue Beacon. And I love this color. So we're going to use this. And I want to show you kind of how I penciled this out to figure out how many stitches I needed. So a waffle stitch square is about 1 inch wide. And my goal is 48-inch wide blanket. So I don't worry about the height because I just stop the blanket when I'm done with the size that I need. So the width is what is most important to me. I want 3 double crochets on the edge. So I put a 3 count here and here. And then a waffle stitch is actually made of 4 double crochets. And when you put the stitches together, it turns them into little bitty squares like this. But if you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, your count would be off because you're counting this actual stitch twice. So you have to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then when you get it to the length that you want, you add 1 on the end. So that's what I did here. So it's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3 stitches divided by 48 inches equals 144 stitches. So the 3s are going to be 144 stitches. And then again, you have to add that 1 to count that 1 on the end. So 144 plus 1 from here, and then plus 3 for the left edge and 3 for the right edge equals 151 stitches. And then so I will get a chain of 151 stitches, and then you have to add plus 2 for the turning chain. Now, I went through, since I already knew like the length, and I was getting ready to just do this, and then I figured maybe do a video. So if you want to do a waffle stitch blanket, but you want to do it a different size, you can make it whatever size you want by using this formula here, okay? So this is using my granny square all-in-one yarn, and I made, and I've told this in many videos that I will go through and put a stitch marker at like every 50. So if I lose track, I'm not recounting the whole entire thing. So this marker is for my 150th stitch, and so this is my 151 stitch. So 151 is what I'm doing, and then we have to add the turning chains. So what I mean by that, I'm using a 6mm hook. You can see that. I'm using a 6mm hook. I was trying to use a 7 when I first started doing this because I wanted to have some flow, right? I don't want it to be really stiff. So I tried to use a 7 and it's way too big. So then I went down to a 6.5 and it was still too big. But I have a feeling that this 6 is going to work great. So I go into the back humps on the other side of the chain, right? So when you make your chain, you turn it over, and the whole point of that is you're crocheting into these humps, and then this flat edge will be your bottom, and it just gives it a cleaner look. So we know we need to go into the 151st stitch, which is right here, and when we do our turning chain, we're going to do chain 2s, which are not going to count as a stitch. It is just to get the height, okay? So you keep your fingers on whatever your last stitch number is, and then you chain 2, and then double crochet into whatever it is your last number is. And that's what this pattern is going to be, is just a bunch of double crochets. So this stitch right here becomes our first stitch that is in our 151st stitch. So this stitch is 150, this is 151, and then our turning chain, our chain does not count as a stitch. So this is 151, and then if you go backwards, you will have 151 stitches when you're done, okay? So figure out the length that you want your waffle stitch. And remember, it goes 3, 3, 3, 3. So however long you want it to be. The easiest way that I did it is that a waffle stitch is 1 inch wide. It's about 1 inch wide. It's not perfect, but it doesn't have to be. So if you know you want a 36-inch blanket or a 50-inch blanket or whatever, like you divide it by 3, your inches by 3, and that gives you your stitch count. So, or you can just go, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 in your chain, and then when you get it to where you want it to be, you just add 1, and then if you want, I wanted 3 for the edge to allow for a border this time around. If you don't want a border and you just want to put 1 here, you can do that, but you need at least 1 double crochet on the edge. I would recommend 2, but 1 or 2 it will be fine. So you do your count for your stitches, add 1, and then you add your edges. So that's where this is, and then that gives you your total stitches. You do those total stitches, you hold on to that last stitch, add your 2 for the turn, and make sure that when you go into do your double crochet that you're doing it into that last stitch, okay? So get your length and do your measurement, find out what your number is. If you want to do what I'm doing and roughly do a 4-foot blanket, then 151 stitches, do the 2 for the turn, make sure you do your double crochet into the 151st stitch, and then meet me back here. So pause me until you get that done, and then meet me here. Okay, so we have our first stitch in. You should have your first stitch in for whatever your count is, and then we're just going to go into each hump on the back of the chain, and we're going to double crochet all the way down to the end, go all the way down to the other end of the chain. So we're just going to double crochet all the way across, and your total double crochets should be whatever total number of stitches that you came up with. And then your hook size is going to be more in line for whatever size of yarn that you're using. This granny square yarn is a size 4. So the hook recommendation is a 5.5, but again, I'm doing a 6 just so it has just a little bit more movement in it. You can use thicker or thinner yarn. Just use what the hook, use the appropriate hook with it. All right, so we're going to double crochet down the entire foundation chain, and then I'm going to meet you back here when I get 2 stitches from the end, and then I'll show you how we're doing row 2. So we did our foundation chain, and then for row 1 we're double crocheting all the way across, and then row 2 and row 3 are our repeat rows. So there's only a 2-row repeat, and we go straight into it after this double crochet row. This is just to get us started. All right, so finish the double crochet, pause me, do the double crochet all the way across, and then I'll meet you here when I have 2 stitches left. All right. All right, I am back with 2 stitches remaining. This is going to be kind of hard to see because it's black on black, but it will change colors here in a little bit. Let me finish the 2 double crochets in the last 2 stitches. Got the last one here. Okay. So this is my double crochet chain of 151 stitches. So now we are going to chain 2, which the chains don't count as stitches, and we're going to turn our work into that same space that we just made that chain 2 right here. We're going to do a double crochet there. And as always, I'm going to put in a stitch marker. So when you put the stitch marker in, it's at the top of the double crochet that we just did, not the 2 stitches that we did, not the chain that we put just to get the height, okay? You're not putting it in a chain, you're putting it into the first double crochet that we just did. Okay, and then in my pattern, I have 3 stitches for my edge. So that's 1 double crochet, this is 2, and that is 3. So I will always have 3 double crochets on my edge all the way up the side. And the point is just to allow me some space between the waffle stitches to allow for the border. Okay, so we're going to start our waffle stitch pattern here. So we're going to front post, double crochet around the next stitch. So it just means that you go behind the next stitch and work a double crochet. Then you're going to go into the next stitch like you normally would. I'm sorry, that's so hard to see. But you go into this next, top of this next stitch and just do a normal double crochet into that stitch and the next stitch. Then we're going to do a front post double crochet around the next stitch. And that is the repeat for this row. So we're going to do 2 regular double crochets and then a front post double crochet, 2 regular double crochets, and then a front post double crochet. And if you're confused what these stitches are, I have a stitch guide for the different stitches in a playlist. So if you don't know how, if you're questioning a double crochet, you can go in there and it will show you how to do a double crochet. It'll show you how to do front post double crochets. Well, I'm trying to get past this black color so it'll be easier to see. So front post, 2 regular double crochets, front post, here comes some blue right now, 2 regular doubles, front post, double crochet, 2 regular double crochets, front post, double crochet, 2 regular double crochets, front post, double crochet, and this is the pattern all the way across for row 2 And remember, 2 and 3 are going to be repeat rows. So this is a really easy pattern. And I have another video using more of a baby blanket size and a baby blanket color. Okay, so now here I am in blue, okay? So we did a front post. Now we do 2 regular double crochets and then a front post double crochet, 2 regular double crochets, front post around the next, 2 regular double crochets, front post double crochet. Okay, so keep working this pattern for row 2, and then just meet me back here. Put me on pause and meet me back here when you're to your last 3 stitches, or last 2 or 3 stitches. So front post, 2 regulars, front post, 2 regulars. And we're just going to do that all the way across. All right, so meet me back here when you get to the end. All right, we've made it back to the end. And I finished with a front post, and now I have my 3 stitches. So I will do my 3 doubles for my edge. And then your edge is going to be however many stitches you want it to do. Let me take this marker out. We're going to chain up 2. Now, if you're more comfortable chaining 3 for a double crochet, you are more than welcome to chain 3. Just don't count it. If you do count it, if you want to count the chain, then don't put the extra double crochet into this stitch. So I'm not counting the chain. I did a chain 2 just for the height, and now I'm putting in a double crochet, and I'm going to put my stitch marker back in because it reminds me that the double crochet is where I need to have my last stitch and not in this chain space. So this is the first double. I have 2 more for my 3 double crochets that I have on the edge. And now we've come up to this front post that we did on this side. So see this front post? So this time around, we're just going to do a double crochet into the top of that stitch. And then we're going to do front posts around these next 2 stitches. So it's the opposite of what we did last time. Last time we did the 1 front post and then 2 regular stitches. On this one, we're going to do a regular stitch and then 2 front posts. So this is our front post from last time. So we're going to do a regular double crochet. These were our regular stitches from last time, and we're going to do front posts in both of them. So this is what, so when we turn it over, we can see where our waffle is starting to show. So it's in, our waffles are showing up in these little squares. So this is what we're making. Okay, so our pattern for row 3, which is the second repeat row, 2 front post doubles and then 1 regular in the front post of the last round. So the front post of the last round gets a regular double crochet. The 2 regular double crochets from the last round, get front post double crochets this round. Double crochet from last round gets a regular double crochet. The 2 regulars from last round get 2 front post double crochets. And you know which stitches were the front post from last round because they have this part of the stitch kind of sticking out on this side, where this doesn't have it, this doesn't have it, but this stitch, let me use this stitch has that in front. This one doesn't, this one doesn't. That stitch is sticking out. So the ones where this stitch is sticking out is the front post from the other side, and it's the one that gets the regular double crochet. I don't know if that makes it easier to visualize it. So regular double crochet, 2 front posts. Regular double crochet, 2 front posts. Get my yarn here. Okay, so this is a perfect example where I had stopped, and now I need to know what goes into this stitch. So I can see that my front post from the other side is right there. So this is 1 front post. I need to do another front post. That'll be my 2, and then my regular double crochet will go into this next stitch. And what did I just do? I put the regular right in the wrong place. There we go. And then the regular in that one. Front post, front post, regular double, front post, front post, regular double, front post, front post. All right, so here's what we've done. And this is what it's looking like. So you can see this little shelf right here that is going to be the block, like this is the block of the waffle. And then we're starting new waffle stitches in this next row right here. Okay, so repeat this pattern across. And remember, it's just 1 regular double crochet in the front post double crochet from last round, and then 2 front post double crochets in the 2 regular double crochets from last round. All right, so finish your row, and I'll meet you back here when I have the few stitches left. All right, I've made it to the other end, and I have my last 3 double crochets. That's just my side, part of my side panel. All right, we're chain 2. So this last row that we did was row 3. So now we are back to our repeat from row 2, apologize. So we have our chain 2, which for me doesn't count as a stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and double crochet into this first stitch right here. I'm going to put my stitch marker in. So that is our first double. I need to do 3 regular double crochets for my edge. And now we go back into the repeat. So it's kind of hard to see, but this is a front post stitch right here in this black. And we know this because in our last round, we put a regular crochet into our front post stitches. So this round, everything that was a regular stitch is now a front post. And then our next two, which were front posts last time, are now going to be regular stitches. So you just reverse the stitch when you turn it over and when you flip it back. So since this was a regular stitch, it's now a front post. Then we have our two front posts, so they are now regular double crochets. And then we have our front post, and now we have our repeat. So it is two regular doubles and the front post. Two regular doubles and the front post. Two regular doubles and the front post. We're going to keep this repeat, which is row, it is technically row 2, because row 2 and row 3 are our repeats. So see how this is looking? That black doesn't show up well on the camera, but it looks amazing with just looking at it from my perspective. My favorite NFL team, it's the Carolina Panthers, and that's what I love so much about this colorway and this yarn, is that it reminds me of the colors, kind of the colors of the Carolina Panthers. So I'm making this waffle stitch blanket for something that I can just curl up with in my rocking chair, lay down on the couch, and root for my team when preseason starts. I think August, is that when the preseason? I think so. August, September, I don't know. It's not ever soon enough, I can tell you that. All right. So we're going to keep with our pattern here. Front post. Two doubles. Front post. Two regular doubles. Front post, two regular doubles. We're just going to continue that across. I don't remember which row I said this was, but this is the row 2. So if I said 3, I can't remember which one I said. But this is basically the repeat, row 2. And you always want to stop and just look at what you're doing. Because if you have skipped, if you've accidentally completed one regular double and then 2 front posts or something backwards, you skipped one, it's easy to see and undo it at this stage more than when you're heading back across and then you notice it, because then you're 2 rows ahead of where you were when you made the mistake. So if you stop every once in a while and just do a visual check, is it 2 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1? Like, is that what you have going on? 2 in the back, 1 in the front. Just to make sure that your waffle squares are lining, pardon me, are lining up. Got the hiccups, my goodness. All right, so we're going to finish this row, and of course, like always, I will check back in when I'm at the last 3 stitches of this round. So this is essentially where we repeat round 2 and round 3. So this is repeat round 2. 2 regular doubles, 1 front post. 2 regular doubles, 1 front post. All right, so do your stitches for this round, and I'll meet you at the end. All right, I am at the end of the row again. I have the stitches all completed up to my last 3, which is my edge. So I will put in these 3 double crochets, remove the marker. I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to turn. And I'm sure you remember the difference between turning this way and turning this way on how it is, which is better to see your stitch. So if you turn it where it goes underneath, your previous stitch that you do covers up where you need to go next. It's really difficult to see if you turn it under, because see, as I hold it here, it does not show an opening of what that next stitch is. So this is where we were. This is the chain I just did. Now if I turn it towards me and up and over, the next stitch is open, and I can see where it is I need to crochet into. I can see the next 2 stitches. If I pull it a little bit, I can see, you know, all the way down the chain. But seeing where your next stitch is when you start the row, your next row, that was always the hardest for me. And I didn't understand that there was a difference between turning it under. See how that is, this stitch blocks where that opening is. Like, it's not as visual, right? But if you turn it the other way towards you, you can see where your next stitch is, right there in that first open space. Okay, so if you're crocheting along and all of a sudden you can't see where your next stitch is, go back to your starting position with wherever you were before you turned, and then make sure you're not turning under, because again, that stitch gets blocked, right? And turn it towards you, up and over, and it's just right there, right here, right there. Okay, so now we had just finished the repeat of round 2, so now we get to do the repeat of round 3. My chain doesn't count as a stitch, so I am double crocheting into that first stitch. And then I will double crochet into the next 2 because my edge is 3 double crochets wide. All right, 3 double crochets there. And now we start our repeat again. So here we are. Remember what I said about trying to figure out which one is the front post from the row before. If it has this stitch in front of it, that is the front post from the stitch before, the side before. So this stitch is a regular crochet. So if it has this stitch in the front, where you see this stitch, oops, let me get you in the camera here. If you see this stitch in the front, you know it's a regular double crochet goes into that stitch. Here's the next one. And then we have the 2 stitches in between. So we did, on the last row, we did a front post, we did 2 regular double crochets and a front post, and that was our repeat. So this time, in our front post from last row, we're going to do regular double crochet, and then in the 2 we will do front post and then regular double crochet, and then front post, regular double crochet. Okay, so we did our regular double right here. So now we do 2 front posts, now there's that stitch, so this is a regular double crochet, and then 2 front post double crochets, then a regular double crochet, and then 2 front posts double crochet, then the regular, because there's that stitch, then 2 front posts, then a regular double, then 2 front posts. And this is the repeat of round 3 that we're doing again here. So you're going to do the repeat of round 2, and then the repeat of round 3, and you'll go back to the repeat of round 2, and then the repeat of round 3. And you're going to just keep doing this for as long as you want your blanket to be. And like I said, I want this for me to snuggle up on a game day or a game night. So I'm going to make it fairly long. Just remember the pattern and which side you're on. And then if you need to check to see if you're doing the right stitch, you always check to see where that stitch is. I know it's hard to see with the black, but when you have these 2 bars in front, you know that that was the front post from the other side, and so it just gets a regular double crochet. And then you have 2 front post doubles. So as long as you remember that that is what the repeat is, and you know how to find yourself if you get sidetracked and need to pick it back up and you forgot where you stopped in the pattern, you can either look to see how many front posts you have. So if you have 2 front posts like this, then your next one is the regular double, and then 2 more front posts, and then the regular double. Then if you stop here, where you have 2 front posts, your regular double, and 1 front post, the front post goes next, because you have 2 front posts, 1 regular, 2 front posts, 1 regular. And again, this is your round 3 repeat. So we repeat round 2 and round 3 to get the waffle stitch. Let me turn this over. these are our waffles. Okay, so we will just keep going. Repeat round 2, repeat round 3, round 2, round 3, round 2, round 3, round 2, round 3, for as long as you want it. And I will complete this. I will complete this little blanket for myself, and then I will do a follow-up video on putting a border on it. Because there's all kinds of different, you could do shell borders, you can do picots, like there's all kinds of borders. So let's get the waffle blanket done, and then we'll go through what border options we have. If you get lost and you forget what row 2 or row 3 is, just come back to this video and just find row 2 or row 3 based on which side you're working on. And then you can figure out where you left off and keep going. All right, so I hope you enjoy this waffle stitch, and I will meet up with you in the next video when we put the border on it. Bye. All right, I'm checking back in. I have finished the first ball on my blanket. Let me back up a little here. This is what it looks like so far, which I absolutely love it. This waffle is so, I just absolutely love it. And especially in this color. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. But I did want to go through and just show you quickly how to join in the middle to get the next skein attached. Okay, so I have this ball, this yarn is coming out of it, and so this is where I stopped. Okay, right here in this row right here is where I stopped, so I can have the space to join my next yarn. Now, because it's got this frizz on the end, you can kind of see that the yarn itself looks a little frazzled through here, and that's just because it's been rolled or whatever through movement through me crocheting. So I'm going to get rid of this. That's just not, you know, clean looking yarn. Okay, all right, so we're going to add, or we're going to connect our next ball of yarn. If you don't want to do this, you can stop at the end and just do a stop at the last where you pull through your double crochet and add your new yarn and pull it through, and you know, the normal way that you can join something at the ends if you are worried about joining it in the middle of your project. Okay, but to me it's not a big deal. If you understand how to put the yarns together, it's not a big deal, and you actually save yarn because you go until the end of the yarn and then it switches to the next ball and you just keep going, right? So if you stop at an end, all the yarn you would have had that would have gotten close to that end, you have to trash it, so, or save it for another project. But this is so much easier. It's just so much easier. So if you want to match the yarn, so like I'm stopping on this color, do I want to continue with that color? To me, the yarn is already changing colors. It changes, and it doesn't matter to me. I don't care if it's changing to a different color. Okay, so your first thing you're going to do is you lay your yarn over the top of the yarn that's connected to your work. Okay, so this is the yarn coming from the ball. Lay it on top. You're going to tuck it under the yarn that's coming from your work. Then you're just going to pull it, keep pulling it around, right? and then you're going to go under, and that gets you your first connection from the new ball to the old yarn. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time, because once I pull this tight, it ain't coming off. I mean, it will, but it takes a minute. And all right, so we're going to lay the yarn out. Okay, the yarn for the ball is going to go in the opposite direction. Let me scoot that down. There we go. So this one, the yarn from the project is facing to my left, and the yarn coming from the ball is facing to the right. And what I mean facing is the ends are to the right. This end is to the right, this end is to the left. So we're going to lay the yarn over, and then we're just going to keep bringing the yarn around. It's going to go under this, your current working yarn. All right, then you just keep going over, and you just tuck it in and pull it tight. Okay, now remember, we had our working yarn on the bottom, right, and the yarn from the ball on the top. So we still want to keep that layout. And remember how I had you lay this one on top, right? This one is going to go underneath. So the one coming from the work is going to go underneath. This one goes on top, this one goes on the bottom. So since we went on the top on this one and then we went under, we're going to go under on this one and then go over the top. And then underneath and pull the yarn. Let me take it out. I'm going to show you one more time. So just keep from getting confused, lay your yarn out the way you had it at the beginning, right? So your yarn coming from your work is facing to the left. The yarn coming from the ball is facing to the right. So if I pull this out, this yarn, the end of this yarn is still going this direction, okay? This one went over and then under our working yarn and then through, okay? This one is going to go under, then it goes over the ball yarn. You keep going around, and then we're going to put the yarn through and tighten it. Okay, so now we have one like knot thing here and one here. Now we're going to just grab both of the yarns, the one coming from the ball and one coming from the work, and we're just going to pull both of them. Pull it tight, and then both of those knots are going to come together. You see that? Just turns into one big knot. You just take your work, take your scissors, and you're going to cut it right as just close to that knot as you can get it. Okay? And this knot will not come out. It will not come out, which is why you pull it tight when you pull the two knots together. You pull it tight at the end, because no matter what, you know, how hard you pull on this, it's going to stay in there. It's going to stay there. And then the only parts of your yarn that you lose this way is the two pieces you cut off, and then the one piece I cut off because that end was all shredding or whatever you call it. So this is all the yarn that we're wasting, which is fine and dandy for me because I don't like to waste yarn. All right, so then let's go and connect our piece, okay? So I have got the front post done, so that means I do 2 regular double crochets. Whoop. Hold on, I split that. 2 regular double crochets, and then front post, and there's the knot, right? You're just going to use your yarn like you would normally use it, And there it is. Here's where it ends, right? 2 front posts. I mean 2 regular double crochets, and then the front post. 2 regular double crochets, and then the front post. And there is our work. This, when you go through and manipulate the yarn, do the wash or the block or however you want to set it, you're not even going to notice that it's there. You're not going to notice that it's there. And it won't ever come out. That's the best part, is that if you get it tight, you do one on the top, you do the other one on the bottom, it won't come out. And there are other videos on YouTube here that will show you, just scan invisible join. And then they have all kinds where you weave in one end into the other. And I mean, there's all kinds of invisible joins that you can do. But this is the one that I always use. I always use it on all of my projects. And I do it exactly the way I showed you. And I've never had one come out. Not one. So this is coming up to the end, and then I have the 1 front post, and then the 3 doubles. Okay, so there it is. And this is our, let's see, where did I change that? Here. I don't remember where I changed it. Either way, was it further down? It has to be here, because this is where the colors change. Anyway, listen, you can do the invisible join so you're not wasting yarn, or you can stop at the last corner that your length is going to allow you to do. Like if you're going to run out in the next row and you want to change the corner, you can do that. Like that's, I say it all the time, that's the beauty of crochet, is that once you put your personality and yourself into it, then all of your work is you. It's part of you, and you can see your work through it. So and I do all different types of work. So something that is more you know, a little easier, like this waffle stitch, where you can just save the yarn by doing a invisible join. Like, it's totally worth it. It's totally worth it to save the yarn. All right, so I will be doing a video later on about how you add borders to your projects, and this is one that I will definitely be adding the border to. Have fun with your waffle. If you need to see those numbers, just go back to the video and either do a screenshot or just, you know, pause it there, write down your numbers. It should be, you know, I tried to do it as easy as I could so you could figure out the length and the height that you're wanting and how many balls that you'll need. And so have fun with your project, and I will see you on the next one.